What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 36. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Farhan Khan. And this week, guys, we're talking about sports, we're talking about wrestling, and we have a new segment that we're going to be talking about later on, where it's going to be something different that we've never done before, so we're excited to do that. But in terms of NBA, we got our NBA games that we're going to talk about. And MLB season is right upon us. We're going to get into that. And in terms of wrestling, it's a straight road to Wrestlemania. So it's all coming right ahead towards you. So let's get straight into this week's episode. First up, we got our NBA recap. And I'm going to go with my favorite two games I saw this week. And first up, it's the Lakers versus the Magic. The Lakers won this game 105-104. And this was obviously a closely battled game. But if you actually did watch this game, I actually watched this game from the second half forward. There was a lot of tomfoolery going on with the reffing in this game. LeBron James was fouled a lot in this game. There was no calls. The entire Lakers team was getting fouled all game, and the rest were not calling it at all.
I think this NBA season in particular, it's definitely raised questions to reffing, like bad calls going on one team and not getting calls on the other team.
Exactly. It makes it seem like are these refs are actually getting into this betting stuff or what? Yeah. Are they in these lines or what? But in this game, we see that the Lakers have been in a hot run. They've been obviously led by their superstar Luka Doncic, who, in my opinion, now, based on the way that the Lakers have been winning games, is kind of probably the front runner for MVP. I think a lot of the media can definitely see that as well, especially with nobody expected the Lakers to be at the third seed right now currently. And if they can hold on to that, that's even a bigger thing for them. They had the game, basically the game was won by Luke Kennard. He had a game-winning three-pointer, and he's obviously probably the top three shooter in the NBA right now in three-point shooting. I think it's in field goal percentage for three-point shooting. And can the Lakers actually make an impact in the playoffs? It all depends in seeding, honestly. If they're able to get a good seed, for example, if they're the third seed right now and they get matched up with the Rockets, I think they can easily take out the Rockets in the first round. So it's all about matchups. And if the Lakers play the Spurs in the next round, let's see how that goes as well.
I think the collision course is going to be where they do play the Rockets in the first round. Then it's going to be the Spurs because they're the second seed, and then eventually the Thunder if they get there.
Right. So and it could be a huge upset because the Lakers, they have obviously the veteranness of LeBron James and Luka Doncic, who both made the finals.
If Luka and the Lakers go on this run that they actually accomplish going to the finals, I think this is one of the best seasons of all time for the Los Angeles Lakers, in my opinion. Yeah. Especially the gauntlet that is the West. It would be unmatched.
Right. They obviously did lose yesterday, where a game they should have definitely won. They lost against the Pistons, where they didn't even have Cade Cunningham, and they lost that game. But in terms of the Magic on the other side, they just really need Franz Wagner. They can't really do much impact without another player and another star. Paolo Banchero, he's not able to do it all by himself.
And they've been dropping in the Eastern Conference. Now they're in the play-in tournament, which nobody expected them to be.
Because now the Eastern Conference is starting to heat up with teams like the Hornets and the Hawks, who are jumping up like crazy. The Hawks are on a crazy run.
Hawks are in 6th seed right now, too.
Right. Next up on my favorite game I was going to talk about is the Timberwolves versus the Celtics. Now, the Timberwolves won this game 102-92. And not a great game for either team, honestly. They both didn't shoot the ball well at all. I think AE didn't have a really good field goal percentage, as well as on the Celtics team. Nobody really shot well the entire game. Jason Tatum was off, Jaylen Brown was off, Peyton Pritchard was off. All your starters and your shooters did not show up for this performance.
Something was in the air because both of these teams were missing wide open shots, and there was just no ball movement. Everybody just tried to do whatever they wanted to this game.
And Anthony Edwards didn't even play.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it.
Which is actually kind of scary to see that. Why are the Celtics losing this game without Anthony Edwards not playing? And it makes you think all right, let's see what's going to go on with the Celtics. We know that's obviously that Jaylen Brown was a front runner for MVP in the top three. Honestly, he's definitely out of that top three running, in my opinion, now. So Jason Tatum is back, so it's time for them to get more accustomed. I know a lot of people didn't like the flow that, some other Celtics fans were saying that they didn't like the flow, but obviously with Tatum coming back, you're going to have to gel well and mesh well together, but I think the Celtics will figure it out.
It usually happens every now and then where they feel that rust, and now that he's back, it's just going to create a different offensive mechanic.
Exactly, but the only thing is the Celtics' downfall is if they go back to playing hero ball. Yeah. And if they do that hero ball, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they did that against the Knicks last season, and it just didn't turn out well. They lost a 20-point lead twice, and at the end of the day, they just got to fix that aspect of their game.
So now, honestly, in my opinion, with the MVP talk of Jaylen Brown trying to go for that, since that's really out the window now because he's not really going to get it, and there's no really chance of him getting it at this point, I think it's time for the Celtics to just go back to playing team basketball where they could actually flourish pretty well. But those are my two favorite games I saw this week.
Yeah, so the first game I want to talk about is the Heat and the Rockets. The Rockets, they won this game 123 to 122. This was actually a very competitive game, a really good game. Each team starters, they all contribute. I believe everybody scored 15 plus points. It was back and forth first half, and they just got really competitive at the end. Bam Adebayo, after dropping 83 points, he's just been on a hot streak of scoring 20 plus points, and he's just showing to be one of the best centers. Obviously, you have Jokic, and he's probably the second best center in my opinion this season. I would put Jokic and then Wemby and then Bam. And as of right now, I don't know if there's any other center to even be on this level that he's at right now.
Yeah, it depends on scoring and defense. The other option.
And he's a pretty good defender too.
Yeah, the other option I was going to throw out was Jalen Duren.
Jalen Duren, really good. Yeah. But Bam Adebayo, his offensive presence the last month and a half, 2 months, has just been insane. Kevin Durant, he continues to do what Kevin Durant he's been doing all of his career. He dropped 35 points, I believe. Amin Thompson, he actually hit a game-winning shot after Kevin Durant missed. So basically it was just a put-back layup. But this was just an overall great game to watch for both teams. And the Rockets, I believe they're the 6th seed right now. Like I said, they would aforementioned the Lakers. The Heat, they're in the play-in tournament, and the Eastern Conference is getting really more competitive. They just got to get everybody back. And at this point, the Heat, I believe they're the 8th seed. So that means they would have to play whoever the 7th seed is to try to get into the playoffs without even having to have like a rest day in that sense. Second game I want to talk about, which I don't know why I wanted to do it because I thought it was going to be a blowout, is the Knicks and the Nets. The Knicks won this game 93 to 92. And surprisingly, this was a very close game. Very defensive game from both teams. Obviously, you have two boroughs going at each other in New York, and there's going to be some bad blood, some rivalry. We don't consider rivalry because we know the Knicks always whoop the Nets' ass. In this game, the Nets, they actually kept it close. I'm not sure what happened in this game, but each team, they were not making no three-pointers. Me and him, we were watching it. At the end of the game, the Nets had a chance to basically win it, and they had, I believe, 2 seconds left, and they just threw a half-court heave-up. And if that doesn't tell you that there's something within the tanking ranks or whatever, that's crazy because you don't see things like that from a competitive basketball
team. It made no
team.
sense to me because when I saw the point guard, I think it was Ben Saraf, he got the ball. For some reason, the timeout didn't even advance the ball either, which did
advance the ball. They were at half court,
but they threw it into the backcourt.
Yeah, and they just shot a half court shot. Like it's just clear that Jacques Vaughn didn't really come up with a play. He just said, screw it, I'm going to just throw up a half court. I'm not even trying to win this game at this point.
That was very weird to see. But I don't know, the NBA season is now pretty much coming towards an end. There's literally a few weeks left, a few games left. We're going to see a lot of seedings play out. We're going to see a lot of the votings for the MVPs, for all the other awards play out as well. And it's all going to be coming ahead, I think, by the next 2 weeks. We'll figure out exactly where the seedings and the standings stand for all teams. But that sums up our NBA recap for this week. All right, guys, now we're going to go into our MLB recap. As we said before, MLB is literally about to start in a few weeks, right?
No, it starts tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow, actually, which is opening day. So first up, before we get into that, we're going to talk quickly about the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, so it was Venezuela versus the United States in the finals. And Venezuela, they actually shockingly won. They won by great pitching and poor hitting from the United States team. Besides Bryce Harper, the whole team did not show up. And what's crazy is the pitchers that the Venezuelans have, the superstars for the Americans, they did not produce. Kyle Schwarber didn't produce. Aaron Judge didn't produce. Bobby Witt didn't produce. And the pitching held it down for the most part for both teams. But obviously the Venezuelan, they just capitalized and they eventually won the WBC. And it just questions the whole American staff as a whole because you had Tarek Skubal who could have played for the Americans.
What I heard is that the owners and the management from the actual Detroit Tigers team, they didn't want him to play.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Honestly, if I was the owner too, I'd be like, I don't want him to play.
I don't know, man. If I was a player, I get it from an ownership standpoint, if I was a player, I have a chance to play for my team, why not? Especially if I'll have 2 weeks off after that.
But that also goes back to what the media has been saying. Did the U.S. really even care about this tournament?
That's true.
That's
true.
A lot
because
where
they
people
have
talking about.
Arguably 5 top 15 players in baseball on the roster, and there's no reason for them to not have won this championship. But congrats to the Venezuelan team. Like we said, the MLB season starts tomorrow. The first game will be Yankees and Giants, and then later on, Thursday, Friday, it's just pretty much the whole weekend. It's
of course.
It's just all baseball. And for us baseball fans, it feels great knowing that we can have something to watch day in, day out for the next, I would say, 5 months?
6 months,
Yeah, it's fun to watch. And we're going to get into some of our predictions for this season. We'll start off with our award predictions. And for AL MVP, I'm biased going to go with Aaron Judge. He won the last 3 MVPs. But if I'm going to say voter fatigue in this sense, I'm going to go with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I feel like the Blue Jays, they obviously made the World Series last year. They didn't win it in 7 games to the Dodgers. But I feel like Vlad Guerrero, he has a lot to prove this season because he didn't really play as well as he did in the postseason, as he did in the regular season, as he did in the postseason. And if he plays like that for at least 150 games, there's no reason for him to not win MVP. He's a perennial 40 home run, 100 plus RBI, 300 batter. And if the Blue Jays, they have a great record, I feel like he's probably going to get the edge over Aaron Judge. But obviously, we don't know what Aaron Judge can do. He could possibly hit 70 home runs. You never know with this guy. But based on the voter fatigue standpoint, I'm going to go with Vlad Guerrero Jr.
All right, for me, I'm going to go with a different route. I'm going to go with J-Rod. I'm going to go with Julio Rodriguez. I think, honestly, it's time for him to take that next level up. I know a lot of people do view him as a top-tier player, but I think he's better than what most people think in reality is. Obviously, he got outshined by Kyle Raleigh, but I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't think it's going to get repeated again. If it does, big props to Kyle Raleigh, honestly.
If Kyle Raleigh does what he did last season, this season, then he's probably he would win MVP.
That's what I'm saying.
They would give it to him this year.
But I do think it's going to regress because obviously Kyle Raleigh was off to a huge start, so the Mariners fed him the ball and let him play like that. But in my opinion, I think it's technically Julio Rodriguez's team. I think he's going to carry that team, and that's why I think he's going to put up a lot of home runs this season. I think he can also get a lot of at-bats as well, but Julio Rodriguez is my pick to win AL MVP. Let's get into NL MVP.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about this team later on, but I'm going to pick Ronald Acuna Jr. If you give him a full, healthy 150-game plus season, he could put up 40 plus home runs, 100 plus RBIs, and on top of that, he had a 40-70 season that won him the MVP in 2023. And if he plays this whole season, he's probably going to do the same thing. And the Braves, I think they're going to be better because of the team all around him putting up the stats. I feel like he will deserve the MVP over, obviously, who you're going to take. But Ronald Acuna, he's one of the top, in my opinion, he's one of the top 5 players in MLB. And I feel like this season, he's going to overcome the odds, play a lot more games, stay healthy, and he's going to be awarded the MVP.
That's not a bad pick, but obviously I'm going to go with whoever obviously the biggest odds are to win it and who has been winning it for I don't know how long at this point.
A long time.
Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani, in my opinion, is still the best player in baseball. No question about it, in my opinion. When he's on the mound, Shohei Ohtani is going to deliver bombs, and obviously he's going to also get into the flow of pitching again, but I think it's going to be a lot less compared to what the pitching roster that they have now. Dodgers beefed up their pitching even more now. So, I wonder how much more Shohei is going to be pitching, but if he continues to pitch and bat at this point, how can you not give him NL MVP if he's playing premier level baseball on both sides of the field? You know he'll deliver at bat.
Yeah, and the only thing that would hamper him is injuries, really.
Exactly, at this point. But, like I always talk about, he's made in a Japanese lab. When he's injured, it doesn't matter. He comes back even better, which is crazy to say because he got injured, and guess what? He came back better. So, in my opinion, Shohei Ohtani, whatever he's been doing on the offseason to keep himself going, I think he's going to continue it, and I think Shohei Ohtani is going to lead the Dodgers. Obviously, in our predictions, we'll get into our World Series, but I think Shohei Ohtani is going to be my NL MVP. But let's get into the Cy Young winners. First up, let's quickly go into the NL Cy Young real quick because obviously we both have the same person for this.
And it just makes sense because he's the best pitcher in the National League, and that's Paul Skeens. He's pitched the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He's had a subpar 2 ERA. A lot of people have been criticizing the Pirates for not building around him, rightfully so, because the Pirates organization, they're one of the most poorly run organizations in all of sports.
Yeah.
And you're wasting the talent of a perennial all-time pitcher. And Paul Skeens, he's going to deliver it again this year. I feel like hitters, they're going to start figuring him out more. And I think he's not going to have the same ERA aspect. He will strike out a lot of guys. But regardless, needless to say, I think he's going to win the NL Cy Young Award as well.
Yeah, Paul Skeens is obviously probably, if he's on, he's probably top 2 best pitchers in the MLB, in my opinion.
RB1.
Yeah, and Paul Skeens, I know a lot of people, I don't remember if you were one of them, but I know a lot of people had doubts about him coming into the MLB. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, is he really worth a #1 pick? And when he, as soon as he stepped onto the mound in the MLB, he showed out.
I remember in 2024, Was it 2020? Yes, it was 2024. I was at a bar and one of my friends came up to me and was like, yo, watch out for this kid, Paul Skeens, in the minor leagues. You should pick him up in fantasy baseball. I'm like, when he comes up, I'll pick him up. Eventually somebody picked him up and right away, he's just ripping 100 like it was nothing.
He's one of those pitchers where as soon as he got that start, he was never going to lose it again. And that's what's going to happen with him. Now let's get into the AL Cy Young winners. I'll go first. I'm going to actually go with a pick that I don't think a lot of people had really in mind, but in my opinion, he's been slowly getting better and better every year, and that is from the Mariners, Bryan Woo. I think Bryan Woo is really, really good pitching. The few times that I watched the Mariners play, and every time I watched Bryan Woo play, he was really good in my opinion. I think he had one of the best winning records in the MLB when he pitched as well. He had one of the top strikeouts in the MLB as well. I don't know if his ERA is as good as the top tier level, but strikeouts, he's up there, and wins, he's up there, and that's what matters to me in my opinion. As a pitcher, if you're able to win them the games and strike guys out, I don't see why not. And I think because of this entire season where I think the Mariners as a whole are going to step up in all rounds, I'm going to pick Bryan Woo to be my AL and Cy Young winner.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with Garrett Crochet, and he was in the running last year. He came in second to Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal is probably going to experience that voter fatigue. And I also think that Tarek Skubal is going to take a regression this year. Garrett Crochet, last year, he was the top strikeout guy in the league. And I know you said about the Mariners, they're going to be a little bit better this season.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox, as a Yankee fan, it pains me to say this, but the Red Sox, they're going to be a much better team this year. And Garrett Crochet is going to be the top of the heap. He's the ace for that team. And he has a sub-3 ERA last couple of years. He was obviously on the White Sox for a couple of seasons, and that kind of just wasted. Now, since he's on a much better team, especially losing out on the Cy Young last season, I think he has a lot to prove this season, and I feel like because of that, I think he's going to win the AL Cy Young Award.
Yeah. And then now let's get into our World Series predictions. Obviously, the MLB season starts tomorrow, so these are right off the cusp. We don't know exactly what's going to happen when the season plays out, but let's go off of, I'll do mine first. So obviously, I've been huge on the Mariners because I do have J-Rod winning MVP, and I do have Bryan Woo as my Cy Young winner. So with that indication, I'm going to be picking the Mariners to go to the World Series out of the AL. I think they're able to do it for sure if they're all healthy and if they're all playing great baseball. I don't see why not. And let's see. For me, the huge factor is, can Cal Raleigh do it again? And if he can, I don't see why not.
He's got to produce in the postseason because last postseason he didn't really play as well. Like he hit maybe 2 home runs and that's really it.
For sure. And I think it's going to be all counted on, of course, J-Rod, because I do think it's his team at the end of the day. And for the NL side, it's going to be, obviously, in my opinion, I think it's going to be the LA Dodgers again because, like you said, like we always talked about, they've front-rolled everything to win it now.
And they got freaking Kyle Tucker this offseason.
And they got Kyle Tucker. So, like, in my opinion, why wouldn't you pick the Dodgers to win the World Series? And I'm going to pick the Dodgers to win the damn World Series. I think they're going to three-peat. I think at this point, depending on how Shohei Ohtani plays, he's going to cement himself as one of the greatest baseball players ever if he continues and wins a three-peat, in my opinion. How do you not consider him as one of the greats at this point? But let's see how it plays out. But I'm going to pick the Dodgers to win the World Series against the Mariners this year.
All right, so I'm being very biased in this take. But before I get to the biased take, I think the Atlanta Braves, they have the talent, the pitching staff, and the mindset to take out the Dodgers if they meet in the playoffs. Right. Like I said, Ronald Acuna is coming back. Austin Riley's going to be back. Chris Sale is going to be back.
Yeah.
And they have some really good pitchers on the team. And if this team stays healthy, primarily at least 80% of the season, if everybody stays healthy, they could do it. They could definitely take out the Dodgers. They have the capabilities to do it. And I'm sure they'll make some trade acquisitions during the deadline. But I'm going to take the Braves on the NL side and the AL side. I'm obviously going to go with the Yankees. I feel like they're going to probably get somebody during the trade deadline to make their teams healthier. And on top of that, they're getting Garrett Cole back. Carlos Rodon's going to be back later on. It's going to be early growing pains for the first half of the season. I know that for sure. But once it gets to the heat of the summer, they're going to pick it up like they always do.
Yeah.
They're going to probably rattle off some wins, and I feel like they're going to end up winning the division, get the 1 seed, and just roll into the playoffs hot and continue the hot streak into the World Series. I'm taking the Yankees, baby. Going 28 championships this year. Let's do this.
All right, and that kind of wraps up our MLB season beginning before we even get into our recap. But it's going to be an exciting season. There's a lot of things to go look forward to as well, and we'll really get to see exactly, is this going to be a repeat of a great season that we had last year? But that sums up our MLB recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time for our WWE recap. And first up, we're going to talk about our SmackDown recap. And the show started off with Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre brawling. And we're going to see that actually play out through the entire show. These guys were brawling all over the place.
These guys are scrapping any single place that they could find.
Exactly. And this is pretty much building to a huge fight that they're going to have at Mania. So,
I think it's going to be a stipulation match.
Yeah, for sure at this point, if they're going to keep doing all of this. Next up on the first match of the card we had was Damian Priest and R-Truth versus the MFTs for the tag team championships, and Priest and Truth actually won. So this makeshift tag team, I guess obviously they needed to shake up the tag team division on SmackDown for sure, and it won because of MFTs were distracted by still this ongoing feud of the Wyatt Six. I do not know where this is going, and if this is going to happen, a match at WrestleMania at this point, just let it happen, and it's going to be a match where a lot of people just go take a piss break, honestly, at this point, because these two factions, they're so pretty much boring at this point, and WWE didn't really give them any justice on any sides at this point. So I hope that feud is over at Mania. It's got to be, because at this point it's just too much back and forth, and nobody really wants to see it. In terms of the tag team championship, I wonder what they're going to do at Mania, if they're going to give Priest and Truth. I think because they put the titles on those two, there's more of a chance of them definitely being on the Mania show. I don't know what type of match it's going to be or who it's going to be against, but we'll see that play out, as Mania is pretty much 3 weeks away at this point. Next up, we had Randy Orton come out, where he did a little explanation of why he did his attack on Cody Rhodes. There was not really much of an explanation at this point, where he's pretty much still saying that he still loves Cody Rhodes, and he's doing it honestly because he hears these voices, and he wants to chase that 15 championship.
And nobody booed him. Nobody like viewed him as a heel. Obviously, this is the portrayal that he has, but at this point, I just feel like people just don't like Cody Rhodes, and it's good for Randy Orton, in my opinion.
Honestly, it's the point where they're putting Cody Rhodes against. They did this last year, where nobody really wanted to boo John Cena. He was the heel too. Randy Orton is the heel too at this point. These guys are two established stars where no one's gonna boo them at this point in their career, and it sucks because Cody Rhodes is facing these two guys because obviously he's their top star, but he's not gonna get cheered against those two guys.
No.
And honestly, I don't think it's doing WWE justice for Cody Rhodes, which honestly, it might be a bigger thing and a better thing in the long run, because this is working towards maybe Cody finally turning heel later on. The more and more boos he get, the more and more people revolt against him. Maybe they're playing this in the long run.
And more people that turn on him too.
Exactly. So he could be due for a huge heel run in the future, which I have no doubt when he turns heel, it's going to be huge. He's going to kill it as a heel as well, because he's done it for years in the Indies, and he's been the biggest heel in the Indies as well. Next up, we had Sami Zayn versus Aleister Black, where these guys have been going back and forth and backstage for a while, and it was time to finally have them a match in the ring. We had Trick Williams, who's been super over ever since he got called up, pretty much came up and was sitting ringside to watch the match. Sami Zayn was doing a little, I guess, heelish activities in a way, where he was just didn't want to see Trick Williams at all. And it was pretty funny. Trick Williams just threw a bunch of water on him.
Yeah.
And then he pretty much got laid out by Sami. Trick Williams had great facial expressions in this too. But it looks like they're leading to a possible double turn, because Trick Williams is obviously getting cheered as a babyface, and Sami Zayn is looking more and more like a heel. And Aleister Black picked up this win due to the distraction. So let's see if that's going to do something. But it looks like it's leading to Sami versus Trick at Mania at this point. And we're going to talk about next up, where Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley, they're still continuing this feud, because obviously you need to build towards it. It's one of their bigger women's matches that they have this year. And they kind of threw a little bit life onto it with Jade Cargill now having a faction with, I guess, what's her name, B-Fab and Michin. Those two have been feuding with Jade Cargill at this point, but it's like the same old storyline. If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. So now we kind of have a faction going up against Rhea Ripley at Mania. So let's see if that adds a little bit, a little bit extra to the match at this point.
Fuel to the fire.
Yeah. And then we had Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov.
Finally.
Where Dragunov's been pretty much ducking him all week, but this match finally happened. So it was a great match. It was obviously the best thing on the show, because these two guys are one of the best on the show no matter what when they fight. Carmelo Hayes retains the title, and it makes you think, what is next for Ilya Dragunov? And I have an idea that I will talk about on our Monday Night Raw review about Ilya Dragunov. But Carmelo Hayes wins, so that moves him forward. Let's see what he's going to have a match at Mania. Is it going to be a ladder match? Is it going to be something where we're going to have multiple people involved? Or is he going to just do a regular open challenge he could do at Mania, and we can get somebody back?
Yeah, like a surprise. Yeah.
So that would be interesting to see. Next up, we had Jelly Roll doing a slam poetry with Kit Wilson.
Yeah, this is funny.
It's just comedy. Jelly Roll was hilarious. Kit Wilson was hilarious as well. I think overall, might be leading to a one-on-one match, or what people are talking about is a tag team match. Because I don't think you really want to have Jelly Roll one-on-one with somebody. It'll expose him too much. But you have him with, obviously, The Miz is still around, and the rumored Royce Keys, who might be coming on and within the next 3 weeks, because you got to bring these guys on now. Mania season's literally coming sooner and quicker than you think at this point. And lastly, we had a storyline throughout the show where Matt Cardona was pretty much going around Randy Orton telling him that he didn't appreciate what he did to Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton was playing this trick all night long where he was going to go apologize to Matt Cardona in the ring. Everybody knew that wasn't going to happen, and Matt Cardona's the only idiot in the entire building that night that thought that Randy Orton was going to apologize, which led to Randy Orton taking him out and pretty much destroying and breaking Matt Cardona's arm with a steel chair wrapped around it. We're still continuing the storyline where Randy Orton's going through these emotions until Cody Rhodes is finally going to be back. It looks like he might be back on the SmackDown next week, so we're finally going to get that face-to-face and promo battle that everyone's been looking for. But that wraps up the SmackDown recap, which drops right into the Raw recap, where this was a good show in my opinion, and there was a lot of elements and factors to the show that started off. First up was Brock and Oba, right? So let's talk about how exactly Brock and Oba, these two big guys, it's time for them to finally get it on, but they had another face-off.
Yeah, so last week, Paul Heyman came out looking like a bat out of hell, like blood coming out of his eyes.
Yeah.
He was confronting Seth Rollins, who had like 30 masked men around him, and basically Paul Heyman was like, you're gonna fuck with me, you're gonna fuck around and find out. And he kept saying FAFO, which led to FAF5, which led to Brock Lesnar coming out.
Right.
He basically attacked all the masked men around him, got into the ring, confronted Seth Rollins. The lights went out, and that led to Obafemi. Now, a lot of people are clamoring for this match to happen at WrestleMania, and basically this led to the idea that Obafemi is going to do the open challenge that Brock Lesnar had,
right,
which is exactly what happened. He picked up Brock Lesnar and powerbombed him after getting distracted by when Brock Lesnar tried to attack Seth Rollins, that's when he got powerbombed by Obafemi, rather. And this was like probably one of the most viral moments in WWE history, in my opinion.
Yeah, Obafemi, obviously, WWE has very high picture and views of him, and he's going to be slated in this big spot against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And when they first had their interaction, the entire crowd went electric. And again, on Monday Night Raw, it was kind of electric as well. But in this case, we actually had one-on-one. There was no surprises. Brock Lesnar was ready to take him on. But what ended up happening was Obafemi got loose of an F5 and clotheslined him out of the ring, and Brock Lesnar sold it like amazing.
He like befuddled after he got
And that's the thing with Brock Lesnar. When he cares and when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's facial expressions are one of the best. He tells a story with his face alone.
Yep.
And eventually, this is going to lead to Brock getting his get back one of these shows before Mania, because it's not a good sign if Obafemi just keeps taking him out.
Yeah.
Because that means that Brock Lesnar's going to win at Mania at this point. But I think Brock Lesnar within these next two, probably next week at Madison Square Garden, where he could deliver a beatdown to Obafemi, I think it's eventually going to happen. I could definitely see Brock Lesnar being the type of character in this point where he brings in a steel chair or something to pretty much acclimate. But it's going to be crazy to see that, because you never see people... You always see people trying to bring weapons against Brock.
Yeah.
And now Brock's bringing a weapon against Obafemi. It's a great way to show and showcase how much of a monster Obafemi is.
It's the passing of the torch from the beast to the
right.
ruler.
So let's see how that plays out. Next up, we had the Usos versus The Vision for the Tag Team Championships. And this was more of a storyline match where Jimmy and Jay, it's obviously more about Jay at this point, where he's starting to not really care and really starting to be a hothead and go back to that character. The Brass Knucks were introduced in this match, and he used them on Logan Paul. And obviously, he got DQ'd, and Jimmy looked befuddled in this way, and Jay was like, he didn't even really care about it because he was just ready to get... obviously, these guys were ready to cheat.
The refs are telling him no, and then boom, he just hit him with the
He just wanted to do what he wanted to do, and that makes you continue to see Jey Uso going back to the old character back in 2022, which a lot of people loved at that point.
The right-hand man.
Right, so let's see that story progression continue to play out, as we're going to see more of it at the end of the show. But next we had AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. This was obvious at this point that these two women were destined to face each other at Mania. So they had a little promo battle where these two girls are obviously going to face at Mania. So that set up that. Next we had Seth Rollins, who got called out by Paul Heyman. So Paul Heyman came out to the ring, and it makes you think at this point, what's going on? this storyline with Seth Rollins, it's still kind of like passing along. Are they biding time for Braun Breaker, or what's the story here?
Yeah, because last week we thought that Brock Lesnar was going to be the one to challenge Seth Rollins. But we kind of overheard that Seth Rollins technically not medically cleared.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was just their way of saying Braun Breaker's not medically cleared.
Right, for sure. And it makes you think, because now they have 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
So Braun Breaker, if he is coming back, he needs to come back, I believe, maybe at MSG.
Maybe at MSG.
Or at least that week. You need to have at least 1 week buffer in between these guys facing each other. But I have another scenario where I think if Braun Breaker is not ready to go, you gotta have, obviously, if Seth Rollins is ready to go, you gotta have him on the show. And I have someone where he needs to be on the goddamn show, because this is 3 weeks now and almost a month where the ring general Gunther is not in the fucking show. And I don't understand how you have someone who beat John Cena and retired John Cena and retired AJ Styles is not on your damn Mania card. I don't get it. At this point, I'd rather have Paul Heyman just hire Gunther as a hired gun to take out Seth Rollins and give me those two at Mania and call it a day.
I don't hate the idea.
Give me those two at Mania and call it a day, because I know those two will steal the show if they get the spot. But it just makes you think, what the hell's going on with Gunther? Is it Gunther? They do have him slated for Rey Mysterio apparently, and they don't know if Rey Mysterio is cleared to go. There's a lot of variables still needs to go on with the Seth Rollins storyline and Braun Breaker, and now Gunther and Rey Mysterio, so I don't know where that's going to play out. But either way, if they don't play out in the way that they want, you just match up Gunther and Seth. I think those two can obviously have a great match at Mania.
I 100% agree.
Next up, we had Penta versus Dom Mysterio. This was obviously going to be a win for Penta. Everybody knew the title just changed hands. It was not going to happen. But it led to Balor coming back. And Balor kind of didn't get a big reaction coming back, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably expected Balor to come back. But it leads to Balor and Dom continuing to have a rivalry and go into Mania. But it makes you think as well, is Penta going to have a multi-man match and have Balor and Dom just throw into the IC title? Because Dom is still really adamant on getting that IC title back. That's only his focus at this point. He doesn't even care about Balor right now.
Yeah.
So it makes you think, if you want, obviously you want to have Penta on the show with the IC championship. So you do a multi-man match, because in one of the commercial segments, you had Javon Evans who claimed and said that he wants to go for the IC title. So you could do a ladder match with these guys and throw them in there.
Like each year, there's always a stipulation, and me and him, we've been going back and forth this for the last 15 years. Like, oh, what's going to be the stipulation match? IC title stipulation match? United States title stipulation match? I would say, because of the talent that would produce for the IC title, I think that would be the ladder match.
Yeah, for sure, because you could throw a lot of people into that, and you could throw a lot, and you could obviously have a lot of big moments in that match as well, because there's a lot of people gunning for that IC title in the mid-card realm. And obviously, I don't think Penta's going to lose that title anyway right now, but you make it a spectacle of that match because of all the talent that you have. Yeah. Last we had was the CM Punk promo with Roman Reigns, who was in the building as well. But CM Punk came out, but it ultimately led to the Usos coming out. And it led to Jey Uso confronting CM Punk, basically saying, why are you still running your mouth about my family and everything like that? It looks like Jey Uso is the one that's actually taking this more seriously than Roman Reigns at this point, because of how much ticked off he is by this. But it led to Roman Reigns eventually coming out and telling the Usos that this is my business, you need to get out of the ring. And it led to Jey Uso pretty much not ticking off again and couldn't really handle himself, and he kind of was able to like not hold himself in it, and he had to let it out, and he ended up attacking Punk, and it led to, I guess, Jimmy having to pretty much take him off, which led to Roman having to get involved, and Roman delivered a Superman punch, and Jey Uso's outside the ring.
He's telling him, Joe, you gotta attack him,
That kind of gave you a throwback back to what was going on with the original Bloodline, where the right-hand man, Jey Uso, at this point, was now the one giving orders to Roman Reigns, which is very interesting to see.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, story progression-wise, you see the opposite, where, you know, at the end of the day, this whole story started off with Roman and Jey. The entire Bloodline storyline started with those two when they first had their match together. And you always had that story where Roman viewed Jey Uso being the next tribal chief, the real next tribal chief. You kind of saw shades of that right now. Is Jey Uso slated to get that role right after Mania? Because everyone's been wanting him to finally turn heel, because he has the capability to be it. And we're seeing it more and more every week on Raw, which makes it so much better than him just being the Yeet Man.
Yeah.
Right? So you see him giving orders to Roman Reigns right now, which allowed Roman Reigns to go absolute berserk and take out CM Punk. He pretty much threw him outside the ring post, hit him with the ring post twice, and powerbombed him through the announce table.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, before the show went off, it all led to CM Punk laughing. And it's pretty much CM Punk saying that he's in their heads. And he knows that Roman Reigns can't do anything by himself. And I think the parting shot of the show was CM Punk saying that he doesn't need any help. I'm not the one that needs help. And it's obvious that Roman Reigns is getting befuddled and getting messed up because of CM Punk is pretty much playing right into his mind games. And it's a good storyline going forward. It makes you think, what are the Usos going to be? How much are they going to be involved in this match going forward?
I guess next week it'll determine who is going to be there, who's not going to be there,
right?
What it's going to really mean, because Roman Reigns, he hasn't really delivered a clear-cut promo to say, oh, this is my opportunity to present myself by myself. And obviously, I don't know what WWE's plans are having the Usos there instead of just keeping it, progression with just CM Punk and Roman Reigns versus bringing them in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be. I think one telling tale next week is gonna be, especially if the Usos lose their tag team championships in a street fight against the Vision. That's next week. So no disqualification in that. If the Usos lose that titles, they're going to be involved in that main event match, in my opinion. No doubt about it. Because at that point, they're not on the show.
Yeah, people were saying how CM Punk is going to lead the Vision and they're going to get involved.
I don't really see that coming.
There's a lot of rumors about what potentially could happen. And at the end of the day, it'll be great. That's all that really matters.
But you have your big two storylines and your two big matches on developing and continue to go forward. Mania season is 3 weeks away. There's still a lot of variables and questions left for big stars that are what are they going to do on the show as well. But the card is filling out. The match cards are getting tighter. It looks like we might have a lot more matches this year due to the early start time. So let's see what the match card is going to be looking like. But within the next few weeks, we're going to have the match card filled out. And we're going to have our predictions getting ready and very, very soon for the biggest show of the year. But that sums up our WWE recap for this week.
All right, Faz. Don't say the same things as me. NBA edition. Your level 1. Name a current NBA center.
Okay. All right, I got mine.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Jonas Valanciunas.
I went with Wendell Carter Jr.
Okay.
All right, you passed level 1. All right. Level 2, it's going to get a little harder. Name a current Eastern Conference head coach.
Okay. Current Eastern head coach?
Yeah.
All right. I kind of got one. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Jamal Mosley.
I went with Billy Donovan for the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
All right, level 2 is good. All right, now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of things. Ready? Name a current player who has won the MVP.
Damn. Okay. I doubt you would put him. All right, 3, 2, 1. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I went with James Harden.
Okay. Thank God. I thought about James Harden, honestly. I did.
I mean, you could have went with LeBron. You could have went with KD, Russ. The list goes on and on. All right, level 4. Since we're both a Celtic and a Maverick fan, name a player that has played for both the Mavericks and the Celtics.
Both the Mavericks and the Celtics. Oh, interesting.
It's not a lot.
I think I have one, but I don't know if he played for the Celtics.
It's not a lot, but there's been some number of guys that's been played on the team.
See, there's one obvious one. But
yeah.
I'm not gonna. I don't know if you would put him. I don't know if he played for them. So if I get it wrong, you got to give me a redo.
All
right.
3,
2, 1. Jason Terry.
He did play for the Celtics. Okay. Remember when he got traded?
Yeah, so who did you put?
I put Rajon Rondo.
Okay. Who was the obvious one? I think
Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. But
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I didn't want to put those two. So it's like
I don't even remember who else played. Brandon Bass.
Brandon Bass did play.
That's really it. I don't remember anybody else. Oh, Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
Jason Terry was one because I just thought about JT.
Yeah. All right, you're level 5. Now this is gonna be the hardest one. You're gonna have a 33% chance on this one. Name a Ball brother.
All right, let's do it. Name a Ball brother. God damn it. I'm going to go with him. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Lonzo Ball. God damn it. I lost him. I'm proud.
Lonzito.
I was going to go with LaMelo, but I was like, no, he's going to put LaMelo because he knows I love LaMelo. God damn it.
Shout out LiAngelo Ball. Jello.
Nobody thought about him.
Yeah.
All right. Don't say the same player as me, WWE edition. So Farden, I'm going to give you a 5 level. We're going to go through 5 levels. We're all different things, WWE related. Level 1 is name an Intercontinental Champion.
Of all time?
Of all time. All right, reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. Y2J, Chris Jericho.
Miz.
All right. Past level 1. Let's go to level 2. Name an Undertaker WrestleMania opponent.
Oh, shit.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of obvious ones. There's a lot of big name ones, but let's see if we have the same one. Reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. Ric Flair.
I want Bray Wyatt. Rest in peace.
All right. Now we're going to get a little bit harder, but maybe not. Let's go to level 3. Name a recent WWE Hall of Famer within the last 5 years. All right, reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. I went with Rey Mysterio.
I went with Michelle McCool.
Okay. The legendary 619 Rey Mysterio, who's still active.
Who still got it. Who still got it. He still got it.
All right, level 4. Name a famous Randy Orton rival that comes to your mind.
Oh my God.
Now, obviously, there's obvious ones. There's low-key ones. There's big ones. You know, Randy Orton's been doing this for 20-plus years. He's had a lot of big rivalries.
How big are we talking about here?
We're talking about where he had at least 3 big matches with.
At least 3 big matches with. Interesting.
Like, if you think about him, and if you think about this opponent, you know, okay, they had a feud with Randy Orton.
I think they had enough matches for them to be on here.
All right, ready? Reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. I went with Jeff Hardy.
I went with Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. Okay, you know, I'd give it to you because they did have a huge match at Mania and at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, because Triple H got involved.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would give it to you because he was involved with the entire Authority.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. All right, now we get it to our last level 5.
Uh-oh.
Now I did the same as I did the same as you when we did our sports one. Now we pretty much have a 1 out of 3 chances. So level 5, name a Shield member. So we obviously have 3 options. We either got Roman Reigns, we got Dean Ambrose, or we got Seth freaking Rollins. All right, let's see. Have we gotten the same Shield member? Reveal your answers in 3, 2, 1. I went with Seth Rollins. Wow.
Shout out Dean Ambrose,
Shout out
aka
Dean
John
Ambrose.
Moxley.
Yeah.
Killing it. Who should be back soon? Who should be back? You never know with that guy.
All right, guys, and that sums up the episode for this week. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.